everybody and welcome to this video on question 1 on the higher tier AQA GCSE English and English language papers. Today we're going to be looking specifically at the skills of inference and deduction, and these are the skills required for question 1. Now question 1 is worth a total of 8 marks, and in order to get band 4, which is 7 to 8 marks, you need to show that your answer is perceptive and detailed. So let's have a look at this mark scheme in detail. So first of all, you need to offer evidence that you fully understood the text. Now what that means is you need to show the examiner that you have read through the whole source you've been given. So you need to explain to the examiner that you've taken quotes from the beginning, the middle and the end. So we would want to include phrases such as at the beginning of the source we can see, later on we see this, and furthermore we see this about this person. Okay, so you need to show the examiner that you've read the whole of the source that you've been given. You need to show a detailed engagement. Now put simply that means that you need to write a decent amount. Normally you get 2 sides to answer this question, so we would expect an answer of about 1.5 pages to show a detailed engagement. You also need to make perceptive connections and comment about the issues presented in the text. Now those perceptive connections will be in your explanation of the quotes that you've chosen. Now there will be contradictions in the source that you are given. Now what this means is changes in a writer's idea or contrasting ideas within the text itself. So if you can pick those out and show to the examiner that you've understood those contradictions are there and perhaps why the writer feels differently about different things, then you are making perceptive connections. You also need to offer appropriate quotations, which we know we always have to do. In your point quote explains, so appropriate quotations in each PQE paragraph. Okay, so if you've looked at my foundation videos, then perhaps you've seen the lesson on inference, but I'm just going to go over what inference and deduction is. So inference is to come to a conclusion about something based on the evidence given, and in English we call it showing, not telling the reader. So the writer is going to give you an indication of something, but they wouldn't necessarily tell you exactly what that thing is. You've got to use your inference skills to suggest what the writer is telling or showing you. Deduction or deductive reasoning is the process of figuring something out from one or more statements. Okay, so let's have a look at an example of how we can use inference and deduction to figure things out from what the writer is saying. So I've got an example here from an old exam paper, just a short extract, and it was about Facebook and the writer's opinion on Facebook. So it says, at the time of writing, Facebook claims 59 million active users, including 7 million in the UK, Facebook's 3rd biggest customer after the US and Canada. That's 59 million suckers. Okay, so that's a really short extract from this news article. However, there are some really key words within that we can use our inference skills to figure out what the writer is actually saying. So I have bold printed some of those words or phrases, and I want you to have a think about what those words suggest. So what do they suggest about how the writer feels about Facebook or about Facebook itself? So if you want to pause the video, have a think now, and then in just a moment we're going to look at some of the answers. Okay, so if we look at the phrase at the time of writing and we used our inference skills, we could say that that phrase suggests that the figure is increasing all the time. It is growing in popularity because it says at the time of writing, which implies that it will change as soon as the article has been written. Now, in this particular article, the writer's opinion on Facebook was really rather negative, so this was actually in contrary to the writer's opinion, so we would comment on that in our explanation. We could also look at the word customer, and we could infer that Facebook views itself as a money-making business, contrary to the belief that it is a social tool to connect people. So that would be our explanation of that particular word. We could also look at the phrase active users, and that tells us or suggests that people use Facebook on a regular basis. They are active. They don't just set up an account and then don't use it again. They probably use it every day. I would imagine that most Facebook users use it 2 to 3 times a week, if not more. Okay, and the word suckers tells us a lot about how the writer feels about Facebook. So I've written, the writer believes that people who use Facebook are gullible and naive. Now we would say in our explanation, this phrase or this word suggests, and then I would explain what my inference was, so what I had deduced from those words. And that's the skill of inference and deduction. Now, question 1 on the higher tier paper is always about issues and or concerns. So with regard to the example that we've just seen, it was about the issues that the writer had with Facebook. So let's have a look at how we do point, quote, explain, and then I'm going to give you an extract for you to have a go at, and it's one that I've put together myself, so you definitely will not have done it before. So point, quote, explain, we know that this question is worth 8 marks. We know that we've got to show a detailed answer in order to get to that top band. So I would suggest at least 4 PQE paragraphs, if not 5 if you've got time to do that. We know that in our point we answer the question. We know that we have to use a relevant quote, and then as we've just discussed, in your explain bit you use your inference skills to explain and suggest what those words in the quote show. Okay? So the extract I have is from The Independent Online, and it was accessed at the end of last year. It's a news article about a man called John David Glaude, and he used to be quite overweight, and he has gone through an amazing transformation, put in a lot of work, and he's lost an extreme amount of weight. So what I'd like you to do is you can read through this article, which is available on my website, asiaexams.wordpress.com, so you can get a free download of it on there, or you can pause the video in just a moment. I want you to read all the way through it, and then I want you to have a go at this question: what do you understand about John David Glaude's experience and the issues associated with extreme weight in the article? Okay, now remember that you need to show that you've read the full article, so you need to pick quotes from the beginning, the middle and the end. So there we go, that's it. It's zoomed in just a little for those of you that don't want to go and download the article. Pause the video now and have a go. Okay, so points that we could include in our answer if you're struggling a little bit. Hints and tips, here we go. 19 months to lose the weight shows that he's dedicated and determined. We could discuss the layers of excess skin. We could discuss the obese to beast channel name that he's called his channel on YouTube. We could talk about the impact that weight has on a person's confidence. We could look at the phrase really, really overweight and the fact that he is self-conscious. We could talk about the fact that he's not as self-conscious when fully clothed, although he's still not completely comfortable with the extent of excess skin. Perfect body, right. Fantastic rhetorical question to talk about his experience. You could also discuss the fact that the writer has said that it's a viral video and many people have been affected and interested. And then, as I said in the mark scheme, you need to show the examiner that you are making perceptive connections. So I've picked out some contradictions or contrasts in ideas and thoughts within this article. So while it states that there are benefits, the benefits of weight loss are numerous, obviously you can then discuss that his self-confidence has not increased, okay? The fact that although it's not ideal, it encourages people to lose weight despite the excess skin. So the pros and cons of being overweight and losing the weight. You could talk about achieving your dreams of losing weight. And you could talk about him being morbidly obese, so the fact that it was a life-threatening weight and it's worse than the excess skin. So you would talk about how the thoughts and feelings of the writer are such that although he's really pleased he's lost the weight, he's still not entirely happy with the way he is. And in order to write our answer and structure it well, we could use phrases such as firstly we learn that, and that's telling the examiner that we have looked at the beginning of the extract, and you're also showing the examiner that you're structuring your answer. Another issue associated with extreme weight loss is, and then when you come to your explanation, you could use phrases such as this suggests or I can infer that. And if you're talking about your contradictions or your changes in ideas, then you can use phrases such as this is in contrast to the earlier point about and on the other hand. So there are lots of useful pointers there for you to structure your answer. So the best revision you can do is have a go at this extract, have a go at this question, follow the point, quote, explain structure and use these useful phrases. Then in part 2 I will be showing you a top band, hopefully a full marks answer, definitely worth a 7 to 8, and then you can see how you need to structure your answer in order to get to that level. So definitely subscribe to my channel. It's Miss W, youtube.com aceyourexams. Head over to my website aceyourexams.wordpress.com for those free downloads, and also follow me on Twitter at aceyourexams. If you've got any questions about the exam whatsoever, then please do tweet me. Thanks for listening.